But there came a time in the flight, I was pretty sure we were going to die. Carrie and I began to say goodbye to our kids. My name is Vance Massengill. I am a Church of God career missionary to the Middle East. My wife, Carrie, and I have served on the mission field for 26 years. We serve in the Middle East and Northern Africa. We live in what is called the United Arab Emirates. A few years ago, we were itinerating. We'd gotten through. We went out and boarded a plane in Atlanta. As we were headed back, just normal flight. Everything's going good. I guess about 4 or 5 hours in, I started to go to sleep, and then I felt like a really hard jolt inside the plane. Then suddenly everybody on the right side of the plane began to throw up their window shades, and the entire right side of the plane was glowing orange. The plane was on fire. It began to swerve left and right and drop up and down, and people were cursing and praying. But there came a time in the flight, I was pretty sure we're going to die. Carrie and I began to say goodbye to our kids. I can't really, express what that's like to look into a little girl's eyes until you're about to die and you're about to see Jesus. Somehow, some way, the plane landed in St. John's, Canada, which is the last city in North America before you reach the Atlantic Ocean. If the fire had started probably 15 or 20 minutes later, we would have went into the ocean. And at that moment, I asked that question, is it worth it? Is it worth this? And at that moment, I lost my heart. I had a plane ticket to attend a conference somewhere in Europe, and I had this ticket, and I couldn't get my money back for it. And I'm like, I don't want to lose the money for this ticket. And so I said, okay, I'll go to this conference, and when I come back, then I'll resign from world missions. I'll return to America and try to do something else. I went to the conference, and the whole time, I'm like, God, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here. One of the speakers was speaking, and I finally just said, I can't stay here anymore. And I got up and I went out into the lobby, and I sat down in the lobby. And there was a young man sitting there. He was from a country in North Africa. I didn't know him, so I was just asking questions, his name and that kind of stuff. And then I just casually asked, are you here with someone? And he hesitated for a second, and he said, no, I'm here alone. I was supposed to be here with my brother. But 2 weeks ago, we were at our house church in North Africa, and it was really hot. Had a lot of people inside the house. We don't have air conditioning. And so my brother, who's the pastor, he stepped outside to get a bit of fresh air, and there were 2 Muslim men standing there, and they stabbed him over 40 times and killed him. And at that moment, I guess my first thought was, I need to minister to this guy. But then before, right when I started to say something, I realized that this young man was not telling me about his brother. He wasn't lamenting. He was boasting of his brother's death. He was boasting that the fact that because his brother died, it was going to bring a harvest of Muslim people in his community. And he missed his brother. He was crying. It still hurt, but that he was rejoicing that his brother got to pay the ultimate sacrifice for Christ. And that's when I knew immediately I got to open up to this guy. And I said, look, it doesn't compare anything that you're going through. And I told him about the plane. I told him about losing my heart and stuff. And I said, I have to ask you a question. And I need you to be straight up, dead honest with me because it's going to affect the rest of my life. I said, was it worth it? Was it worth your brother's death? That he preached the gospel to the people who killed him for doing it. I said, is it worth my life to bring the gospel to people who might not want it? And he looked at me, and I don't know what heaven's going to be like, and I don't know what Jesus looks like. But I think when I get there and look into his eyes, I will see the same eyes I saw in this young man, because he looked me straight in the eye. And he said, yes, it was worth my brother's life. He said, it's worth your life. It's worth your wife's life. It's even worth the life of your little girls, because it was worth the life of Jesus Christ. At that moment, that fire ignited. And I've never asked that question again, but I think it's worth it. And I think it's worth what we ask people to do to send us, because it was worth Jesus' life.